Hello, everybody. Welcome back after the international break for Premier League predictions. Mikey is here. Mikey is a winner. I am a loser, but then you already knew that, didn't you? It was Ben 3, Mikey 5 in round 11. No bob-ons, which is pretty poor, isn't it? But you got 5 outcomes, Mikey. That's always a pass, isn't it, in a 10 fixture round in the Premier League. You are 7-4 up on the week by week. Pretty close on the aggregate, though, 76 70. Welcome, Mikey. Good afternoon. Get yourself ready for the Christmas period where you will do a prediction show where you'll just literally go 2-1, 1-0, 3-1. Don't care too much football. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Ben. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back after that international break. I think that was one that a lot of clubs needed, and a lot of England players dropping out. But then the ones that,
9?
did, yeah, a lot of dropouts, which isn't great, is it? But the players that did go, a lot of debuts in there, and a couple of first goal scorers as well. So yeah, a decent international break for England, and then the Premier League clubs will hope that, having held back some players, that they'll be able to recover and start hitting a bit of form, because there's a few good teams that have just lost their way in recent weeks.
And it's a madness going through. If you factor in that EFL Cup round, which I think is like just before Christmas,
Mm.
some teams who are in that are playing a hell of a lot of games now coming
Yeah.
up through to the new year. Get involved in the comments as ever. We'll pop the predictions down there in the description. Excuse me. We'll pop the fixtures. You copy and paste them, stick your predictions down there. Give yourself a point for a correct outcome, home, away, or draw. Give yourself 3 points for a correct result. It's harder than you think. And give yourself a bonus point. So you're going to get 4 if your prediction comes in, bob on, and has 5 or more goals. Are you ready for this, Mikey?
I'm ready.
And you're up first. Leicester City versus Chelsea. And it's all about Enzo Maresca.
It is all about Enzo Maresca, although I've written down N'Golo Kante and Frank Sinclair. Remember Frank Sinclair? He of the own
I
goals?
remember Frank Sinclair, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of those where it's a little bit unfair. It's like Titus Bramble. People remember him for the mistakes. Frank Sinclair, people remember him for the own goals. But he played in the Premier League for quite a few years. He must have been a decent player. So we'll tip our cap to Frank Sinclair. But yeah, big game for Enzo Maresca in this one. And a big game for Steve Cooper as well, because both sides are winless in 5 here. And Leicester, having picked up some really good positive results, looked like they were pulling away from that danger zone, and now sort of been dragged back in because of Ipswich and Wolves getting the wins that they did. Chelsea are 9 points behind Liverpool. They look good for a place in the top 4, but doesn't look like it's going to be a title challenge this time around. I spoke about the players that were held back. Cole Palmer had a break. He's played a hell of a lot of football, hasn't he, in the last year or so. He's had 2 weeks off. I don't know if he's been to Dubai or wherever players go in these international breaks when they're not playing international football. Maybe he's just been at Cobham doing some fitness work there. But Steve Cooper's had some good results in the past against top sides and at home, and it being an early kickoff, a lot of emotion in the ground as well, with Maresca coming back. He wasn't massively popular at Leicester, and they probably weren't overly pleased that he jumped at the earliest possible opportunity. But despite all of that, I'm going for a Chelsea comfortable 3-1 win here.
It's a scribble, Mikey. I was going to go for the same thing. Well, you've opened the door for me to go a bit low scorer. You know, Stevie Cooper always keeps things tight, but I agree with you. The idea, and King Power is a nice away stadium to go to, right in the middle of the country, beautiful pitch. You do see teams bowl in there sometimes and take a win. I think that's what Chelsea will do. So I will shave off 1 Chelsea goal, and I will go Leicester 1, Chelsea 2. Bournemouth v Brighton. Both of these places are on the south coast, but unfortunately, as we found doing these videos, Mikey, football fans are the biggest bunch of snowflakes in history. So I won't call it a derby of the south coast, even though that is where both clubs are located. However much distance is between the two of them. Really like the way both of these two are going about this. So I want to give them both credit. And they're both attacking. It all feels like a Desmond to me, doesn't it? Can't separate them. Goals for both. Bournemouth 2, Brighton 2. On the south
Yeah,
coast.
a similar school of thought from me for this game on the south coast. Must be a nightmare journey getting from the Brighton Stadium to the Bournemouth Stadium, though. I imagine that probably takes over 2 hours. But yeah, two really well coached teams, as you say. I can see goals. I'm going for Bournemouth 3, Brighton 2. They've both
Ooh,
got
that'll get you a bonus
informed.
point, Mikey.
It would get me a bonus point, and I think that it's a fairly likely outcome, isn't it? These are the two teams that have recently beaten Manchester City, so loads of confidence. But these are a list of players. Just going to name two players from each team who are potentially missing: Baliba, Minte, Semenyo, and Dango. So it's hard to know at this stage if all of those players are fit. A big difference for either side. But yeah, I'm going Bournemouth for a narrow win.
Arsenal Forest.
Yeah, Arsenal Forest. I've written down the Kevin Campbell derby here.
Rest in peace. And did you
Rest in
see
peace. Yeah,
Tyrese Campbell getting on the score sheet and holding on to the corner flag as well? Brilliant stuff.
brilliant. Yeah, what a fantastic player, and yeah, much loved by these two fan bases. Arsenal just 2 points from their last four league games, and they're left on the outside looking in on the title race. It seems they need a long winning run. They need to go on one of those Manchester City runs where they just win, and win. But yeah, it's been difficult for them. Like, so many things have gone against them this season, and there's every chance that will continue as we go into this hectic part of the season. But they do have Martin Odegaard back, and Saka and Declan Rice both were rested over the international break, but will probably be back. Forest ran out of steam against Newcastle. They were 1-0 up at half time and looked like they were going to continue that fantastic form. But I expect them to give Arsenal a really tough game, but I think they'll come out second best. I'm going for a narrow 2-1 Arsenal win.
I thought I was going to scribble then because I've got 1-0 to the Arsenal. I've been really high on Forest, as you know, all season. And if there was a time you were going to back against Arsenal, it does feel like now. Switch to stadiums, and I definitely would be, I think. But I think they'll have enough at the Emirates. And yeah, it ran out of steam's a good way of putting it. They let me down because I backed them against Newcastle and it just collapsed a bit in the second half there, Forest. I hope they can go again, apart from in one of their fixtures they've got coming up very soon, and I'm sure they will. But I'll take Arsenal. I agree with you about Arsenal's need to win 8 out of 10 or something like that. But if you're talking about a Man City run,
I think it's probably 10 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'll get them to start off on that run with a 1-0 win. Villa versus Palace. Villa have they tailed off ever so slightly, Mikey. Is it a bit of a cliche?
Four defeats in a row.
Yeah, is it a bit of a cliche to? I'm sure Villa fans will want to, want to shut me right up if I say, "Oh, Champions League" and all of that. But it is the discussion that's going to come up with that being on the fixture list. With that being said, though, I will back them to win at home against Crystal Palace. Maybe they just need to win. However, whether it's playing well or whether it's a tight one. So I had a 1-0. Maybe they'll be 1-0 up and Palace will push and they'll sneak a second goal. So I'll go 2-0. Aston Villa 2, Palace 0. Not good for Palace.
Yeah, not good for Palace at all. Palace did knock Villa out of the Carabao Cup just a month ago. But
where was that game, Mikey? Was it?
That was at Villa Park as well.
It was. Okay.
But yeah, I think it was Kamada who scored the goal. He's suspended for this one. I don't think he's really pulled up any trees for Crystal Palace. They've got Lerma and Decore potentially reunited in midfield, which will make a big difference. But yeah, I can't see anything other than a comfortable home win here. I'm going Villa 3, Palace 1.
What are we going? James Tarkowski for Brentford and Everton. Everton versus Brentford, the James Tarkowski derby.
Very nice, and glad that you brought up James Tarkowski. I was the Everton training ground last week and saw James Tarkowski doing a defensive masterclass alongside Phil Jagielka.
Is he a giant man?
He has enormous legs, Ben. I could not stop looking at his legs. Yeah, probably should have said that, should I? But yeah, most impressive physical specimen. Phil Jagielka, relatively small for a centre back, but still, yeah, he showed me a couple of secret moves for attacking and defending set pieces, and most of them involved him just shoving me. But yeah, Everton, I observed from where I was. We were filming from the rehab pitch, and I saw Dwight McNeil going through his paces there, and this is going back. This is like pretty much just under 2 weeks before this fixture. So judging by the fact he was on the grass and running around looking pretty fit, I think he'll be back for this one. He makes a big difference for them. And yeah, it was classic. At the end of Everton were in full training, Ben, at the start of the international break. And at the end of the 2.5 hour long session, they're doing suicides up and down the pitch at the end as well. Dyche does like to drill them hard, doesn't he? No Dubai trips for Everton.
Shin pads on, Mikey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And Brentford, on the other hand, still scoring for fun, but also they concede a lot of goals. And Bournemouth and Vissa both took knocks in their last game, which is a worry, but I expect at least one of them to be back here to give them that goal threat. But yeah, I'm going for a narrow Everton win here, 2-1, because yeah, Brentford just struggling away from home.
It's another scribble. I'm struggling with this today, aren't I? I had the same kind of rationale. Prefer Brentford at home, both teams to score, but slightly back in Everton. So I'm going to have to say 3-1 then, by that logic, because I can't have a 1-0. Should I not just go all in for the bonus point in that case? I may as well. Everton 3, Brentford 2. Don't know how we've arrived there, but we've arrived there, and Brentford love a high-scoring game this season, don't they? Fulham versus Wolves. Ooh, it's an interesting one. Should be a good game, actually, shouldn't it? This strikes me as the sort of game Wolves might take the lead in and then lose. Do you know what I mean? I can just kind of see it. Or maybe they'll get a point. I think Wolves are going to take the lead in this game. I haven't had a boring 1-1 yet. So I will take the 1-1. I think Raul Jimenez is he fit? He must be nailed onto scoring this game, mustn't he? Fulham 1, Wolves 1. Adama Traore as well, hey?
Yeah, they're the two that I'd written down.
There you go.
I'm going completely different school of thought here, Ben. I've been so impressed by Fulham in the last few weeks. So I'm going for a 4-2 win because Wolves have got goals in them. Cunha scored an absolute worldie last time out against Southampton.
Oh, yes.
So he's back in the goals and back making major contributions in games. But yeah, I can't look past Fulham.
Like
I looked at their
goals
injury
last
list.
season, Mikey, or something. Cunha, he's quality.
Yeah, he's a good player. But yeah, Fulham, no major injury concerns. And Lukic, who's been out for a little while, could be back. He's quite a crucial defensive component midfield for them. But yeah, I'm going for the bonus point, 4-2 win for the Whites.
Absolutely love that prediction. Man City versus Spurs.
Yeah, I'm working at this one, Ben. I looked
When is this? Is this a Saturday game?
So this is a Saturday early evening game. So I had a look at the weather forecast and yeah,
have fun on the M6 toll in the middle of the night. Yeah.
It's either going to be sleet or snow, Ben. Pick your poison. But yeah, both of these sides out for redemption. City, could they lose a fifth straight game? Is that possible under Pep Guardiola,
No,
Ben? You're
impossible,
not going for it, are you?
But so was the third and fourth one.
But yeah, they've got some defensive cover back now. Looks like Diaz, Stones, and Akanji, maybe all three of them could be back. They've been really reliant on Kovacic in midfield. His level's been really high, and potentially got Grealish and Foden back for this one as well. Spurs, they were poor against Ipswich, and maybe this is a bit of a cliche, but they might prefer a game like this. And
really?
I mentioned the weather conditions, and I seem to remember them getting a draw here last year in the pissing rain, and then the previous season, it might have been a year before that where Kane scored in the last minute, completely out of nowhere.
They didn't go in the box for the entire game, did they?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going for an entertaining score draw here. I'm going for 2-2. I know you're not going to follow suit. You're not going to need a scribble here, are you, Ben?
No. What did you go to all?
2-2.
Okay, well, I'll take Man City then, which is fairly boring for me. I wonder as well, Mikey, if Ange loses a few more games, I don't know. I don't know. I wonder. But yeah, I cannot believe we're going to be sat here talking about 5 defeats in a row for Pep and Haaland. Just can't happen. So I'll go comfortable, bounce back, and some hard questions for Ange afterwards. Man City 3, Tottenham 0. Southampton versus Liverpool. Would you say Southampton have improved the past few weeks?
To some extent, but they weren't great away at Wolves.
No, yeah. They're really unlucky with that
improved.
penalty, though, weren't they? Not penalty, but disallowed goal.
Yeah, the disallowed goal was but
It shouldn't
they
have been
they
disallowed, should it?
never quite recovered from that, did they? But yeah, fair
No.
play. They should have been at 1-1 at that stage.
Shall I go for my routine Liverpool win then? Shall I go for my standard 2-0, or are we giving Southampton a goal here? Liverpool are really good, aren't they? I think Liverpool
Yeah.
have got Real Madrid next week as well. So we'll really
Mm.
find out how good Liverpool are against the masters of European football. But no, they're going to be too good for Saints, and they're in superb form, aren't they? I'll do it. It's boring. Southampton 0, Liverpool 2 every time.
Okay. I'm going for another favourite of mine. I'm going Southampton 1, Liverpool 4. Um, it,
You're stacking up the bonus points this week, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm really going because we haven't had a bonus point for a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm going for it. Liverpool, they've only conceded 6 all season. Southampton have only scored 7. Surely this game is only going one way. And yeah, once Liverpool get ahead, Southampton are going to keep going and going and going, and I could just see Liverpool picking them apart on the break. So 4-1.
Ipswich Man United.
Yeah, not much to see here, is there, Ben? Not much in the way of narrative. Yeah, where do we start? We'll start with the away side here, Manchester United. Ruben Amorim's first game in charge, and yeah, I think even the neutral would say this is a tricky one on paper. The back three that he's expected to go to has been much talked about. So I look at what defenders they have available. Maguire's not around, but Yoro and Martinez might be back for this one. And I think that Amorim's style will suit both of them. Mainu is potentially back as well in midfield. And yeah, Manchester United are going to look to dominate that area. And they're in four-man Bruno Fernandes as well. I fancy him for a goal in this game. But Ipswich, no fear after that impressive win at Tottenham. Calvin Phillips will be back from suspension, but I imagine Kieran McKenna against his old side is going to stick with Jens Kujusti because he played so well in that Tottenham game. Yeah, and Greaves could return at centre back for Ipswich. But these sort of little Ipswich injury, will this player, it doesn't seem that relevant in this game, does it, in the grand scheme of things? But yeah, I'm gonna. It's going to be a big atmosphere in this game, Ben, and there might be a little bit of confusion in the Manchester United ranks with the new
Caused
manager
by
and
Liam
a lot of
Delap.
expectation. Yeah, Liam Delap going head to head with Matthijs de Ligt. Yeah, I fancy Ipswich, Ben. Surprisingly, I think it's because I've gone against us quite a few times recently. I'm back on the Ipswich train now. I'm going Ipswich Town 2, Manchester United 1, and I'd absolutely love to see it.
I thought I was going to scribble again because I had in my head a Desmond. The problem I've got, Mikey, is there's one narrative in this game that I really don't like because there is the potential of here comes the new king and it just clicks immediately and it's 4-5-0 to Man United. I really, that doesn't work for me, brother. I'd prefer, but I'm going for the more chaotic thing of the, maybe like Man United will take the lead and then they'll struggle with the new instructions and Ipswich will score 2 quick goals and then Man United will equalise or something like that. But yeah, I still can't figure out whether it's helpful or hinderful. A hindrance. Is hinderful a word? Get in the comments on that one over on thesaurus.com, dictionary.com even. You know what I meant. I'm just trying to not talk myself out of calling Ipswich to get a point against the great Manchester United. So I'm going to do it. Why the hell not? Ipswich 2, Man United 2. Which leaves us with Newcastle United versus West Ham. That was impressive from Newcastle, wasn't it? You know, you've already mentioned it earlier in the second half against Forest. I'll let you answer in a minute about where you have Lopetegui on your managers most under pressure. I suspect he's in the top 3 at least, isn't he? So I'm going to back Newcastle. Newcastle on a winning streak, Mikey. They won a couple on the trot.
Don't think so. I think the winner
Just the one.
Forest was the first.
Yeah,
first in a little while.
They're going to be on a winning streak after this game. Let's go both teams to score. Newcastle home win. Newcastle 2, West Ham 1.
Okay, yeah, I'm also going for the Newcastle win here. I'm going for a 2-0 win. Yeah, I think that win will make a big difference to the confidence in the Newcastle side. And then having Livramento and Lewis Hall go off and play for England, Anthony Gordon score his first England goal. Kieran Trippier back from injury as well. I think, yeah, the good vibes are potentially back for this Monday night game for Newcastle. Not an easy fixture for West Ham. And yeah, Lopetegui, he's got to pull a rabbit out of a hat at some point, because otherwise I could see his days being numbered. Where do I rank him in the possible sack race? Maybe level with Gary O'Neill, I think, as the favourites.
Interesting. Right, get involved in the comments. As always, fixtures down there in the description. Get your predictions in ahead of the games. We do love to hear from you, but we like people who are humble before the event rather than wise after the event. And I bet you know on YouTube which way the comments skew. Of course, as well, we're on the Blue Monday channel and the Benjamin Bloom Football channel. So whichever one you are on, go and subscribe to the other and hit your thumbs up and all of that good stuff as well. Mikey, where can we find a defensive masterclass with Mr. James Tarkowski then?
On all good Premier League broadcasters, Ben. I don't know for certain. I wasn't involved in the edit of it. It might end up on the Premier League YouTube channel, but yeah, some good stuff in there, including James Tarkowski attempting to recreate Phil Jagielka's last-minute volley away at Anfield with some success.
No way! I was going to say good luck with that. Okay, we'll check that out on YouTube or wherever that appears. And Mikey, we will see you back, no doubt, with some glory after all your bonus point attempts in the can this week. We'll see you back next Tuesday.